In forensic medicine, death is not considered an end, but rather the beginning of a whole series of biological transformations known as cadaveric phenomena. In the last video, that you can find by clicking here above, we saw in detail what happens to the human body in the first 24 hours after death. In this second part, however, we will discover how the decomposition process continues in the days and weeks following death. Algor Mortis, or the rate of cooling of the body, begins to slow down as it has already lost a significant amount of heat, so much so that it has almost reached thermal equilibrium with the surrounding environment. Livor Mortis, or the formation of hypostatic spots with a purple-bluish color, has completely fixed so that the blood has irreversibly deposited in the lower parts of the body. Rigor Mortis, or the cadaverous stiffening due to a series of biochemical reactions in the muscles, begins to disappear, thus leading to a gradual relaxation of the muscles. The end of rigor mortis usually coincides with the beginning of what are called destructive transformative phenomena. It is a series of chemical and enzymatic processes that determine the beginning of the decomposition phase, a natural phenomenon that triggers the degradation process of the organism's tissues by means of substances with a fermentative action produced by the body itself. Although decomposition begins immediately after death, macroscopic changes become evident much later, and in particular when putrefaction begins, which we will see in more detail later. Phase 6. Destructive transformative phenomena. Autolysis and autodigestion. The first phase of human decomposition is called autolysis and indicates a process of self-destruction of tissues by specific enzymes that are released following the death of cells. Autolysins in particular are a group of enzymes normally present inside cells, but that are activated following the death of the individual and begin to destroy the cell walls. These enzymatic reactions determine over time the complete dissolution of cellular structures and therefore the destruction of all tissues and organs. Initially, the changes produced by autolysis can only be seen using a microscope, but as the process progresses they can also be visible to the naked eye, and in particular about 48 hours after death, although they are generally subverted by putrefactive phenomena. Autolysis is triggered by changes in the extracellular environment, in terms of temperature, osmotic pressure, and pH, which occur following circulatory arrest and the cessation of oxygenation functions. Internally, autolytic changes are faster and therefore more evident in the pancreas and other organs with a high concentration of cellular enzymes, such as the stomach, intestines, and the medullary portion of the adrenal gland, slower in connective tissues, and of intermediate speed in the liver, kidneys, muscles, and brain. Simultaneously with autolysis, autodigestion occurs. That is the biological process in which some proteolytic and lipolytic enzymes contained in the digestive juices begin to consume and then digest the walls of the gastrointestinal tract, and then extend to the nearby organs. The speed of onset of postmortem autolytic changes is conditioned by a series of factors, including body and environmental temperature, the condition of the body, and the tissue involved. At this point, the rupture of cell membranes caused by autolysis and self-digestion causes the release of enzymes and cellular material that create an ideal environment for the development and proliferation of bacteria, fungi, and protozoa normally present in our human microbiota. Phase 7. Putrefaction. This is an advanced stage of decomposition that follows autolysis and is due to the processes of degradation and decomposition of tissues by anaerobic and aerobic germs, which compete with each other for the energy that the body itself represents. Generally, putrefaction is divided into 4 phases or periods, which develop at different times. First phase, chromatic phase. This is the first stage of putrefaction and is characterized by the appearance of a greenish coloration of the skin, especially of the anterior abdominal wall, in correspondence with the right iliac fossa. Here is the cecum, the initial portion of the large intestine, that contains fecal material of semi-solid consistency and numerous aerobic bacteria. Since the cecum is located rather superficially, in contact with the abdominal wall, the putrefactive bacterial processes in that area become visible more quickly than in other parts of the body. The greenish coloration of the skin comes from the combination of hydrogen sulfide produced by the bacteria with hemoglobin, released following the destruction of red blood cells. This forms what is called sulfate hemoglobin, together with other cadaveric green hemopigments. Subsequently, the putrefactive green spot quickly extends to the entire abdomen and then spreads throughout the body, following the course of the subcutaneous venous network. This process is known as marbling and causes the onset of streaks corresponding to the superficial course of the venous vessels, initially red-purple and then green-black. The chromatic phase appears around the 24th hour after death, when the external temperature is quite high, or after 3 to 4 days instead, when the temperature is low. Second phase, Emphysematous phase. During the emphysematous phase, bacterial activity increases significantly, especially that of gas-forming anaerobic germs, which produce a greater quantity of putrefactive gases, including ammonia, carbon dioxide, methane, and hydrogen sulfide. The gases will thus spread from the intestine to the vascular network, then to the subcutaneous tissue, and finally to the internal cavities, causing swelling of the body, which will thus take on an abnormal appearance. The first place where gas accumulates is the intestine, where billions of bacteria live permanently, which will cause the abdomen to swell upon our death. This post-mortem medical condition is called batrachian abdomen. Then there will be a swelling of the eyelids and lips, a protrusion of the tongue and eyeballs, and the formation of blisters, skin blisters of variable size, filled with gas or putrefactive liquids of a greenish color. The progressive detachment of the skin layers instead favors the entry of germs and accelerates the putrefactive processes. The emphysematous phase occurs between 3 and 6 days after death in a warm environment and later in a cold environment, up to 15 days after death. In the next video instead, which as soon as it is available you will find by clicking here above, we will see the last stages of decomposition. We will explore the last putrefactive processes that lead to the complete dissolution of organic matter, reducing the human body to a pile of bones.